Only 2 days remain in the Iowa high school girls basketball season, and we have reached the second and final semifinal here in Class 2A. Good morning, everybody, and welcome inside Wells Fargo Arena courtside. I'm IGHSAU, and she's Ellie Ruffridge, getting set for today's Class 2A semifinal between the 3-seed Hinton and the 2-seed Iowa City Regina. Both of these two teams had tough battles in the quarterfinals. Hinton had to come back from down 12, while Iowa City Regina had to hold off the 7-seed Maquoketa Valley, and now these two teams are set to try to reach a state finals, Ellie.
Yeah, we got a tough matchup here between number 2 and number 3, and like we said in that Rock Valley game versus Hinton game, we called that Hinton only led for about 2.5 minutes of the entire game, so they can't get themselves in that hole like they did in that quarterfinal game. I think it's going to be a battle of pushing the pace and who's going to get out and run and control the defense.
And we'll hear more about the keys to today's game a little bit later on during our channel Seeds for Success. But let's take a look at how these two teams got here to the semifinal round. We'll start first with the 3-seed Hinton, 20-4 on the season, and they defeated Rock Valley in that quarterfinal, only led in that game for 2 minutes and 38 seconds. Yeah, you're hearing that right. 53-47 the final in that quarterfinal. Sydney Duskett, 18 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, while the freshman, Raylan Kempema, had 14 points and 9 rebounds, a rebound off away from a double-double in her first appearance here at State. On the other side for Regina, 25-0 this season. They defeated Maquoketa Valley 53-47 in the quarterfinals. Morgan Miller, man, oh man, what a player she is. 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. Well, Ella McLaughlin had 14 points for the 2-seed in Regina. Regina started the season ranked number 9, worked their way all the way up to number 2, and now trying to get to a state championship game. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we come back, we'll have our channel Seeds for Success. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small, we host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Welcome back inside Wells Fargo Arena. There is the 2-seed Iowa City Regina. They're getting set and warmed up for this one. And it's going to be a fun one here between Hinton and Regina. Both teams have 2 talented freshmen. I know you're going to talk about that in our channel Seeds for Success. So what are these Seeds for Success for both these two teams?
Yeah, if you're looking at Iowa City Regina, they are really successful when they push the pace. They get it out and go. They lead Class 2A in scoring a game, and that's about 70 points per game. And then on the other side, Hinton, they are number 2 in 2A in points per game, and that's about 67-point game. So we got an offensive battle here. They need to start fast in this game. We talked about it earlier against that Rock Valley game. They started really slow, just weren't settled in. They can't start that way in this game. And then for both teams, it's a freshman wild card. On Iowa City Regina's side, you got Addie McLaughlin, a freshman averaging 17 points per game and contributing with assists and steals. And then for Hinton, you also have freshman Raylan Kempema. She had 14 points and 9 boards in that quarterfinal game. It's a battle of the freshmen.
No doubt about that. And McLaughlin, 425 points this season in her first campaign. And for Hinton, you know, one of the things about this team, and we talked about it during that quarterfinal game, but after that game, when asked in the press room kind of about all of the transfers, all of the new girls that came in, they responded by saying, we feel like we are a puzzle, and at the beginning of the year, we just, we're working out that puzzle. Where do the pieces fit in that puzzle? We feel like in that second half against Rock Valley, we found out where those pieces fit in that puzzle, and we're ready to advance to the state championship.
Yes, and we talked about, too, it's just so impressive when you have a team. Having really good team chemistry helps your team be successful and get to these moments at the state tournament. And I just think, you have players coming from Addie Piggott from Hinton. She came from Cherokee. You have a girl coming from Kingsley Pearson. And then again, just it's pieces to the puzzle for this Hinton team.
Yeah, Sydney Duskett played at Kingsley Pearson for the last couple of years, now spending her junior season here at Hinton. Iowa City Regina has never played for a state championship game in girls basketball. In 9 completed trips here to state, they have been to the quarterfinals 5 times, and now they've been to the semifinals 5 times. Can they play for a state title for the first time? On the other side for Hinton, last played for a state championship in 2002 when they lost to Rock Valley in the title game. So before these girls were born. We'll come back. We're going to have starting lineups, and we're going to tip it off. One of these two teams will find their way to tomorrow's state championship game here in Des Moines. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Hello, I'm Brent Johnson, a 5th-generation farmer from Calhoun County and president of the Iowa Farm Bureau.
And I'm Erin Gerlich, Executive Director of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. We're excited to have you join us for the Girls State Basketball Tournament.
The Iowa Farm Bureau is proud to be the title sponsor of this amazing event. Iowa's farmers work endlessly to grow and raise nutritious food and sustain our local communities. Similarly, Iowa's student athletes dedicate countless hours to train and excel in their sport. Partnering with the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union allows us to celebrate farmers and student athletes while supporting and empowering the Iowa girl.
Reaching the state tournament is a tremendous achievement, and it requires strong support. Thanks to the Iowa Farm Bureau, we can celebrate and honor students for their accomplishments on the basketball court and in the classroom. The Iowa Farm Bureau is dedicated to your success, assisting our organization in providing awards, grants and scholarships, as well as concussion insurance and these wonderful championship hats. These contributions not only protect student athletes' health, but also highlight outstanding performance in both athletics and academics.
As Iowans, we have so much to be proud of, and every single one of us plays a role in making our state great. So, from the Iowa Farm Bureau
and the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union,
congratulations on an outstanding season, and best of luck in the tournament.
Cox. And from Iowa City, the Regina Catholic Regals.
Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union wants to thank you for attending this conference and for your support of school-based activities. By attending this event, you have the responsibility to represent your school and community in a positive manner. So let's show respect to the athletes, coaches, officials, and our fellow fans. Thank you for your attendance and enjoy the game. And enjoy the game! And enjoy the game. Hey, don't forget to enjoy the game.
The Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union promotes good sportsmanship by everyone in attendance here today. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants, officials, and spectators in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, sexist, or abusive comments, or intimidating actions directed at officials, participants, coaches, team representatives, or event personnel will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. We thank you for your cooperation. And as the girls in the video said, enjoy the game. Fans, it's now time to introduce the players in today's 2A semifinal matchup. First of all, here are your non-starters and assistant coaches for the Blackhawks of Hinton. Number 3, Peyton Beck. Number 5, Becca Lars. Number 15, Keely DeRoshi. Number 21, Addison Kavarna. Number 31, Megan Leary. Number 33, Bailey Boovy. Number 41, Addison Dunkel. Number 45, Raylan Kempema. 53, not Raylan. 53, Aurora Cook. And 55, Creighton Stussy. Your assistant coaches, Ryan Stussy and Bert Hertenstein. Now let's meet the non-starters and assistant coaches for the Regals of Regina Catholic. Number 2, Nora Wade. Number 4, Ella Cuny. Number 15, Anna Trenkamp. Number 20, Maddie Squires. Number 22, Mel Kirk. Number 23, Maggie Supel. And 25, Sophie Wilchin. Your assistant coaches, Jordan Christofferson and Andrew Meister. And now, here are your starters for this 2A semifinal. At guard for the Blackhawks, a 5'8" senior, number 11, Eddie Piggott. For the Regals at guard, a 5'6" senior, number 1, Morgan Miller. For Hinton at forward, a 5'11" junior, number 23, Carlin Kavarna. For Regina Catholic at guard, a 5'8" senior, number 10, Caitlin Martin. For the Blackhawks at guard, a 5'7" junior, number 25, Sydney Duskett. For the Regals at guard, a 5'7" senior, number 12, Ella McLaughlin. For Hinton at forward, a 5'10" sophomore, number 35, Addison Glass. For Regina Catholic at guard, a 5'5" freshman, number 24, Eddie McLaughlin. And for the Blackhawks at center, a 6'1" freshman, number 45, Raylan Kempema. For the Regals at center, a 6' sophomore, number 35, Adelie Klein. Head coach for the Blackhawks is Matt Leary, and for the Regals, Mary Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you our officials for this 2A semifinal as assigned by the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Your referee, Casey Hofert. Umpire, Nate Stagey. And umpire, Mike Calvig. Your bench official, Rob Ratchford. All right, who's ready for state tournament basketball?
All right, here we go. The horn is sound. The teams are announced, and we are set for state semifinal basketball between the 2 seed and the 3 seed. These two teams got their current rankings in week number 8 of the rankings. And since then, they have held at 2 and 3, setting up this matchup to go face Central Lyon in the state championship game tomorrow. Central Lyon has been a force through the Class 2A field so far. One of these two teams will try to go after them tomorrow, and the first shot is up, and it is no good.
And you mentioned Central Lyon just advancing to the 2A state championship game, and Hinton actually defeated Central Lyon earlier in the season. So, hypothetically, if Hinton were to advance, that would be a matchup.
And right away, it is Morgan Miller. She had 17 in the quarterfinals, and she knocks down a big triple to start things off for Regina.
Morgan Miller having a really good state tournament so far. She's shooting 60% from the floor. Just seems to be really confident here.
And a good drive inside for two by Kovarna. A multi-sport athlete will watch this one again. Just gets the pass, gets the inside position. And the foul is going to come in against Iowa City Regina Natalie Klein, the sophomore. First free throw off the mark. Kovarna, multi-sporter, volleyball, golf, softball, and also dabbles in the student council as well at Hinton. Both free throws no good, and the rebound comes to Klein, and Iowa City Regina racing back the other way. We talked about the freshman in this game. The first one from Addie McLaughlin is up, and it is no good. McLaughlin over 400 points here in her first season. Inside Kempema, the other freshman for Hinton. Both play different positions, but both could be key for their teams today. And a double dribble and a turnover.
Both teams right here, both Regina and Hinton, just matching up, playing good man-to-man defense. And right there, Duskett got caught with the double dribble.
Hinton only scored 13 total points in the first half to Rock Valley a couple of nights ago. That one's off the mark. Rebound by Klein. Puts it back in, and she scores. And she'll go to the free throw line for one.
Hinton will, in the half court, go into a 1-2-2 zone. And as you see there, they just caught on the backside. It's really hard to rebound every possession when you're in a zone.
Kovarna called for the foul, a three-point play opportunity for Klein, and she knocks it home. The sophomore, 60% free throw shooter this year. That's her 40th made free throw. And just like that, Regina's raced out to a 6-0 lead. Again, Hinton falling behind. And that shot doesn't go, just inside the paint. Long outlet passes up and won't quite fall for Regina. Ella McLaughlin, the senior of the McLaughlin sisters. And now Hinton is on the board as Addie Piggott will find her first two. Another outlet pass. Regina run on the floor well, but back-to-back buckets don't go.
Yeah, back-to-back possessions where that's 4 points right there that Regina wishes they could get back. Both really outstanding looks.
Piggott, two more. As you saw, the defense kind of collapsed on Duskett as she drove in the lane. That left Piggott wide open, and Duskett gets the assist. At the free throw line, they try to go back inside to Klein. A kick ball will stay with Regina. 23 seconds will stay on the shot clock. 5:38 here in the opening quarter. And Hinton, after trailing by 6 early, has scored the last 4.
We talked about the freshman matchup earlier, but I think another matchup to look out for are the post players inside. Klein for Regina and then Kempema for Hinton.
Both underclassmen as well. Klein, a sophomore, Kempema, a freshman. Hinton gets a stop defensively, now trying to get back on the board to tie the game. Kempema right around the defense and off the glass. And now a pickpocket by Piggott, and here comes Duskett. 2-on-2 across the line, and they score with Sydney Duskett.
And that's what Piggott does. She's at the top of that zone in the 1-2-2. She's got really quick hands, quick feet. She's gotten so many steals just from those quick little tips.
Ball nearly out of bounds, picked up by Piggott. She tries to throw, it's intercepted by McLaughlin. Addie McLaughlin inside through 3 defenders. Too strong. Another bucket that's too strong, and here comes Hinton once again. It's Duskett. She'll go one-on-one to the rim. Now she leaves it short. And that one would have really blown the lid off the Hinton fans if they would have gone 10 in a row. Instead, it stays an 8-0 run for Hinton after Regina went up 6-0. It's been a while since Regina has found a bucket now. And they'll still be left scoreless as that one is left short by Ella McLaughlin.
Right there, Regina, nobody really picked up ball until she got to the end right there, committing that turnover. And this is where Regina is really good when they get out in transition.
And the shot is no good, but free throws are coming. Duskett picks up her first. Had a little foul issue in that opening round game. One through the half of this first quarter. And Regina finally able to find a bucket with Caitlin Martin. At 6 points in the quarterfinals. We got an IMT substitution as well. As Ella Cooney will come in, the 5'5" junior guard. And both free throws will fall, which ties the game at 8 and shuts off an 8-0 run by Hinton. It'll be the Blackhawks that will bring the ball back across the floor once again.
Regina deciding not to press there. Play good. Half-court defense right here. As you watch the ball, or excuse me, the off the ball movement, Hinton's always looking for backdoors. They're screening away, looking to pin and pop, roll.
And a nice drive there by Addison Glass. Back the other way comes Regina Glass. One of those transfer-ins this year for Hinton. Her mom actually played for Coach Leary in the 90s. And a three-point shot is made by Regina, and they'll take a timeout, 11-10. Back and forth we go, 3:12 to play here in the opening quarter. And it's been kind of fast and furious. Both teams have left points on the table, though. Left some of those shots inside the paint short.
Absolutely, and if you're a coach right now in the huddle, you just got to tell your players to flush it. You make a mistake, you're human, but you got to move on to the next play. But those are buckets that they have to have, especially in this semifinal game. And right there, I really liked how Regina attacked the zone. They're not being pass happy around the perimeter, just passing it around the three-point line. They're driving, they're attacking, and when they attacked that zone, they got an awesome-looking three right there that they just knocked down.
The senior class for Regina, led by Morgan Miller, played here at the state tournament in 2022 when they lost to Panorama in the quarterfinals. Then they came back in 2023 and lost to Sibley Ocheyedan in the quarterfinals. Kind of heartbreaking last year. They lose in the regional final. But they're able to avenge that and spend their senior season here in Des Moines, trying to be the first Iowa City Regina team to play for a state title in girls basketball. They've won state titles in multiple other girls sports. Now trying to do it here in girls basketball.
And when you talk about Regina's only loss this season, they lost to top-ranked 3A Mount Vernon, who's actually going to play in the 3A state championship tonight.
Kempema finds a two and then a miss. Outlet pass. Here comes Hinton back down the floor looking for two more. That one's left strong this time and no good. Now Regina loses the handle on it in the backcourt. They'll still have plenty of time to get it across the line and do with a couple seconds to spare. Sometimes those can get dangerous on the missed dribbles. Regina trying to regain the lead once again. Both teams have had runs in this game. Otherwise, we have been kind of back and forth between Hinton and Regina. Here's a three ball left side. That one's no good on the front end. Second chance opportunity for Regina. It'll be a jump ball, and it will stay with the Regals.
Ella Cooney right there grabbing that board. She fought for that rebound. She helps the Regals with a little bit of a spark plug off the bench.
IMT substitution. Be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com as Natalie Klein will come back in. Regina scored 0 points from their bench in the quarterfinal round. All of their points came from their starters. That one's poked away in the lane. Here comes Hinton now. We're 2-on-2 across the line. And the shot is up and it is no good. A drive there by Glass. Had Duskett with her, but wanted to take it herself. There is Miller for three. That one's no good. Miller is deadly from beyond the arc. Couldn't get that one to go. 40% three-point shooter this season for Regina. Glass Inside, two-point shot is no good. Once again, left short, this time by DeRochi. DeRochi had the only 2 points for Hinton off the bench in the quarterfinal round, so the two teams combined had a total of 2 points off their bench as Duskett couldn't get it to go on a drive. Now McLaughlin the other way is tapped on the way to the rim, and she'll go to the free throw line.
So you're going to see probably not a ton of substitutions in this game. As you can see, Regina and Hinton, they play with their starters a lot of the game, and that could, play effect, if this game is going to continue at the pace that it's at.
Both teams will bring 1 or 2 girls off the bench is about it. We see one here as we'll have a substitution. Be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. That's one of their starters, Carlin Kovana, checking back in as Glass will go to the bench for the first time today. Rebound to Kempema. DeRochi, just about the only one that comes off the bench for Hinton, currently in the game right now. 44 seconds to play here in the opening quarter.
Hinton looking for a double high look right there. They had Kempema up there.
Couple of opportunities for Hinton. They'll get a third one. Shot clock is now off. It's stolen away by Regina. So Hinton with 2 second chance opportunities. None of them go. Now Regina throws it away. And now Hinton looking for an opportunity with 17. Will they slow down and take the last shot? Or Duskett going to drive in. Looks like they are going to at least slow things down for the moment. As Duskett watches the clock tick away. Looking for help. Gets it from Kempema. 2-point basket on the way is good. Smooth shot by Sydney Duskett as time expires. And Hinton puts up 14 in the opening quarter. They scored 9. Actually 13 combined in the first half. In the quarterfinals, they have 14 here in the opening quarter. We'll come back for second quarter action between Hinton and Regina. Next, this is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
It's Frank. Frank. Mr. Frank. And just what you did now, I think you're the best ever.
In your neighborhood, there's a place so good. It's so nice to be at a store meant for me. The feeling of family, you have to agree.
Wow, thanks, Fairway Frank.
Welcome to Fairway, your Fairway family.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena, there you see the Hinton bench, and across Iowa, hundreds of neighborhood banks are providing jobs, supporting businesses, and strengthening our communities. Here are successes built by you. The life you build is backed by Iowa Banks. See what we mean at iowabankers.com. And Hinton will start with the basketball after scoring 14 and leading by 3, Ellie.
I thought that first quarter, at the end of it, I thought Sydney Duskett as a point guard did a really good job at managing that clock at the end. And then all she had to do was come off of a ball screen and hit that last second shot to end the first quarter.
Duskett thought about a 3 that time instead, right in front of the free throw line. Jumper no good. Kempema the rebound, and she fires it back in. A huge shot for the young Raylan Kempema. Now across in transition once again. Regina scores the other way with their freshman.
At the break, we joked with some of the refs, thinking that this was just a track meet in the first quarter, and they were like, "Can we buy a timeout? Can refs get a timeout here?"
It has been back and forth, especially Regina. They like to run the floor, looking for 2, no good, short, and Klein grabs the rebound.
And Regina's a team, they pride themselves in the fitness that they're in. They like to go up and down. They're going to be the fastest team no matter what, and that's kind of been their mindset all season, no matter who they're playing. They want to run.
And it's not just running up and down the court, but every loose ball, they're running, seems like, as fast as they can to try to get to it. That time running out of real estate, going to grab that loose ball. It goes out of bounds, and it goes back to Hinton with a 3-point lead, trying to add on. They tried to go backdoor to Kempema. Wasn't there. They did get it into her now, and she's going to get called for 3 seconds in the lane, and we're going to go the other way.
And at this stage in the game, you know, you're one win away from punching your ticket to the state championship game. Every possession matters. Every 50-50 ball matters. You have to do whatever you can for your team to advance to the next round. And you can see several of these athletes doing that here.
3-point shot off the mark. So many games this week have come down to 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 points. Those extra 5 points that you get in a first, second, or third quarter could pay huge dividends. Kempema inside. Now she'll try a jumper, and she knocks it down a step off the free throw line, and it's a 5-point lead. Miller is left alone in the backcourt. Nobody came to help her. Now McLaughlin will come back and give her some assistance.
I've been so impressed with Kempema this state tournament. I've only seen her play 2 times here, but as a freshman, being a post player, but able to knock down that shot, I have to say that she's going to be getting some looks just because of her size, but also just what she brings to the game.
Deuce get nifty, spin move, left it short, rebound though to Hinton. And now a fight for a loose ball, and it's picked up by Regina. And you got to think, I would only imagine that she's only going to get better as time goes on. There's a floater from Miller, is no good. Just natural growth of a freshman.
Yeah, and I always like to reflect after a season, you know, next week when teams reflect over the season and, you know, celebrate the success that they had. It's good to take some time off, you know, to clear your mind away from the game, but once you're ready to get back to work, you got to come up with a game plan. Okay, I was really good at this, but I need to work on this. There's always something that players need to work on to get better at their game.
5 seconds on the clock, and a fadeaway 3 is knocked down by Glass. Timeout, Regina. Hinton has raced in front, 21-13. Let's watch this again. Shot clock ticking down. No problem for Glass. Timeout on the floor. We'll take it as well. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena, the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau and on the digital network powered by Mid-American Energy Company. There is the Regina huddle trying to work something out here as Hinton has raced out to the largest lead of the game. It's 8 points.
Yeah, and again, if you're Regina, on the offensive side, you just got to be patient and continue just being patient with your offense, moving the ball around. I mentioned earlier in the game, you got to attack the zone, maybe have a baseline drive, looking opposite corner, or maybe just a dish inside. Again, it's still early, though. There's a lot of game left to play, and that's the game of basketball. You make adjustments.
Regina averages almost 70 points per night. So that offense is definitely potent to come back. But, of course, here in the state tournament, don't want to fall behind too far. Miller going to try to get her team back to within 2. That one a bit strong as it knocks off the iron, and then the rebound goes to the Blackhawks.
And offensively, Regina should remain confident. Again, we talked about a lot of statistical categories. They're also the best in 2A in team field goal percentage at 48%. So, again, it's not shooting. It's just a matter of getting good looks.
And for Regina, they have done a really good job of hanging out of the basketball. They're one of the top teams in not turning the basketball over this season. They've only committed 3 turnovers in this entire game, as we'll have a jump ball And Regina will get the basketball back. They've done a good job all season long. They're almost under double digits in turnovers per game. I mean, that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah, and give credit to Hinton's defense here. They're doing a really good job on the defensive side, limiting to Regina's good looks.
It will be McLaughlin with the basketball. She'll give it back to Miller. And Miller will survey. This is probably the most time that Regina has taken on a shot clock today, as they have been very efficient getting looks, just haven't knocked them down until now, as Klein, the step back three, knocks it down. She had 11 in her first ever state tournament game in the quarterfinals, and she hits a huge three for Regina. And that one's poked away out of bounds. It will stay with Hinton as Ella Cooney reaches in and pokes it into media row, and Coach Leary wants a timeout. He's going to take a 30-second timeout to talk about this one with a 21-16 lead and 3:04 to play here in the second quarter. Coach Leary used a couple of timeouts in that first game to Rock Valley. There were some times in that game where we were thinking maybe he should use a timeout here. Said after the game that kind of his rule of thumb is he's okay with taking 2, but he wants 3 timeouts in the second half. He wanted his team to kind of weather that storm.
Yeah, and I thought early on in that quarterfinal game that Hinton should have really put the ball in the paint more, and they started to do that more in the second half. They had 26 points in the paint ending up, and then they also had 18 points off of Rock Valley's turnovers. Coming out of this timeout, I would really like to see Hinton try to get it into Kempema in the post, or even Kovarna in the post, because she's long, she's athletic, she has crafty moves, and Klein is on her right now.
After taking a big lead, it's almost been 2 minutes now of gameplay since Hinton has last had a field goal. They're going to go into Kempema, and she's a bit strong. I think she was expecting maybe some harder contact inside, so she really threw it up there. And now, of course, Regina wants to race back the other way, and they're going to call her for a travel, and is moving her feet before she put that ball on the floor. Actually, I don't think she ever did put that ball on the floor. Great to have big crowds on hand. Of course, these two teams played their quarterfinals on our snow day on Wednesday, and so they had half the crowds or less.
Yeah, I remember when we were calling that game, I just felt terrible for these teams.
Yeah.
You know, you punch your ticket to the state tournament, and one of the best things about being an athlete here is looking up in the crowd and seeing the community support. I remember when I was playing, back when our team punched our ticket, looking at the sea of red that Pocahontas brought, and definitely a better crowd here for these two teams tonight.
Another one left long for Iowa City Regina. And now Dusket's going to try a 3 in transition. Doesn't get a friendly bounce, and the ball is out of bounds off of Hinton, as Dusket just pulls up in transition, trying to knock down a big 3.
I have seen a lot of friendly rolls here at the state tournament, and it's funny, yesterday I was back in the locker rooms giving interviews, and even some of the players mentioned they like the rims here at the state tournament. We've seen a lot of friendly rolls here for shooters, shooter touch.
And speaking of a shooter, that is a shooter, Addie McLaughlin, one we're going to hear about for some time, as McLaughlin knocks down another one. She's got 8 on the day. Answer 3 by Hinton is no good. Rebound is fought for, and Regina comes up with it, and just like that, Regina's down by 2. Trying for the lead, McLaughlin, yes ma'am, another one.
She's hot, and she's only a freshman. Keep an eye out on Addie McLaughlin. If you're a basketball fan here in the state of Iowa, she is going to make some noise for many years to come.
And we've got a whistle. Both referees had their arms up, so they both had something. Looks like they agree. It's going to be a foul on Regina. Caitlin Martland is going to be charged with the foul. That'll be her first foul of the ball game. Also the first team foul by either team in this quarter. We've only got a minute left till halftime. Hinton, after leading, wave it off. 3 seconds in the lane, going to be whistled against Hinton a couple of times of that call today.
Yeah, Hinton a couple of times has gotten called for that 3-second call in the lane. They got to know their court awareness, and almost like if you're a player, you have to have an internal clock in your mind counting to yourself, and as soon as you get to maybe 2.5, you got to get yourself out of that lane.
Regina now trying to extend their lead. We talked about McLaughlin. She had a last-second three-pointer to go into halftime to give them a 28-28 tie with Maquoketa Valley. There's a drive by Miller, had her shot blocked, but stepping out of bounds was Hinton, so it'll stay with Regina as Kovarna grabbed the block shot and then stepped out of bounds. And now the referees coming together to discuss something. And we'll see what they come up with. Whatever it was, it didn't change the outcome. As it stays Regina basketball, no shot clock, 33 seconds to play until halftime. And Miller will back things out. Regina likes to work quickly, but maybe with a 1-point lead here, would like to just take this last shot into halftime with them. Unless we have a jump ball, it'll be Hinton basketball to start the third. 12 seconds now for Miller on the right side. Now she looks to drive with 7. Jumper with 5. It's good, but Hinton's got an opportunity. They got 3. And she traveled, I believe. No, double dribbled.
Yeah.
And I think they'll have to put time back on the clock. They're going to put time on the clock, and Regina's going to get a chance at a last-second shot because they're going to inbound in their front court.
So we saw first quarter, Hinton had really good shot clock management, and now on this side, second quarter, Regina had a fabulous offensive execution right there.
They put .9 on. That is plenty enough time to catch and shoot. That's all you get. Miller does try to dribble and put it up. I don't think they're going to get it to go. I think with .9, it's more of kind of a catch and shoot. Miller did try to get one away. Either way, it is Regina leading 24-21 at the halftime break. Both teams had their runs in this game, and it's a 3-point game going to halftime. Fun game so far. It'll be the Ankeny Centennial Dance Team as they enter the court, entertaining the crowd here at halftime. And we'll talk more about basketball when we come back. 24-21 in favor of Iowa City Regina. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Here in Greater Des Moines, we're the unexpected sports mecca that feels like home. We are the big ballers, the little kickers, the underdogs, and the bulldogs. We've got events wacky and wild, big and small. We host them all. That old sports cliche, nobody believes in us? Nah, when you come here, you'll believe it. Because in Des Moines, only the S's are silent. Let's go!
Different people have different needs, so Delta Dental of Iowa has affordable dental and vision coverage that meets you where you are. Small business on a budget? We have options with no employer costs. Traditional Medicare plans don't cover dental, but we do. And if you can't get benefits at work, you can buy direct from us. Plus, we give back to local communities, so you help make an impact. Choose Delta Dental for your smile, for your health, for your community.
Freedom Tire is proud to support the Iowa Girl through their sponsorship of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. With 6 locations around the metro, you're never far from getting you back or keeping you on the road. Our certified staff and state-of-the-art technology means you can take comfort knowing you've got the best work at the best prices. Give us a try at Freedom Tire, a proud supporter of the IGHSAU.
fuel choice that's cheaper, homegrown, and better for the planet? Now that's worth the hype. Pump it up with Unleaded 88.
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena, you see the Fairway Challenge going on. This is a new one that we've seen here in the semifinals. The athletes have to find the letters that spell fairway and put them on and then go make a layup out there. It's always fun to see the different things. Before that, we have the Ankeny Centennial dance team out there with a great routine. And we have had a really good basketball game so far. Back here courtside, I'm Zarin Egestal. She's Ellie Ruffridge. 24-21. What a basketball game we've had this far.
Oh, it's been so fun. And as an athlete, as a fan in the crowd, as a ref, these are the games that you really like to be a part of because there's so much momentum. It's a fast-paced game. A lot of players are being involved in this game. It's a really good basketball game.
Much better for Hinton here in the semifinals. They were down by 12 in the quarterfinals going into halftime, where Iowa City Regina was tied. Now they're down by just 3, and it's anybody's second half here in this one.
And I think the difference in that second quarter was Regina got hot from 3. The freshman phenom hitting a couple down the stretch. She's really hot right now. So if you're Hinton in the locker room right now, you have to locate shooters. And again, Morgan Miller, senior for Regina, she's been a little quiet. I could see her maybe making some noise here in the second half for Regina as well. And then on Hinton, you know, they have it's a game of runs, right? They had the run at the beginning of the first quarter, and now it's momentum in Regina's court. So again, if you're Hinton, you got to take it one possession at a time. And I've been saying this, but they got to get more paint touches.
17 points for Miller in the quarterfinals. She has just 3 here in the semifinals thus far. But we'll talk about all the stats when we come back. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
At MidAmerican Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. MidAmerican Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Excelling in athletics takes teamwork, dedication, and a commitment to excellence. These are the same qualities that help our pig farmers and our communities thrive. The Iowa Pork Producers Association is proud to support statewide high school athletics and the student athletes who make us all proud. Visit iowapork.org/wecare to meet the people behind the pork and hear about our winning approach to caring for our pigs, the environment, and our communities.
SWIC is a community. Southwestern Community College is a place in rural southwest Iowa where students from across the world come to be a part of a tight-knit family, Spartan Nation, where they study, train, grow, thrive, and are called by name, not by number. At SWIC, we are one.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, fans' official state merchandise is now available online. Time to get your smartphones out. Just scan the QR code on your screen now or visit IGHSAU.org to browse and customize your merchandise to match your style. As we are at the half between Iowa City Regina and Hinton. The Blackhawks, the 2 and 3 seed, have been since the 8th week of the season. And here we go. Let's talk about stats in this first half. One of the things that I initially saw was, of course, as we mentioned, only 2 bench points between the two teams in the first game, scored by Hinton. No bench points. All the points so far scored by starters.
Yeah, and we talked about not a lot of substitutions in this game, and again, that's got to take a toll sometimes. But again, what really stood out to me was Hinton has 9 turnovers right now in this game, and Regina has capitalized and scored 10 points off of those turnovers. So again, if you're Hinton, you got to value the basketball, you got to take care of it. And again, we had some really good individual performances in that first half. You got, for Hinton, Raylan Kempema has 8 rebounds and 8 points. And then on the other side, you got Addie McLaughlin. She's 4 for 4 from 3-pointers and has 14 total points.
Yeah, close to a double-double there for Kempema. And the way she's playing so far, very well, could reach that double-double status in the second half. And as we both mentioned, we have seen 1 substitution on both teams thus far. So both teams playing 6 players in the first half. Hinton scored 14 points in the first quarter, 7 points in the second quarter. Iowa City Regina 11 points in the first quarter and 13 points in the second quarter. Free throw line about 60% for Regina and 0 of 2 so far for Hinton. Regina was 6 of 10 in the quarterfinal round from the free throw line, where Hinton was 12 of 23. They got 23 attempts from the free throw line in the first game, have only taken 2 attempts so far here in game number 2. Scoring looked like this in the first half. It was 14 points to lead all scorers for Addie McLaughlin, 3 points for Adeline Klein, 2 points for Ella McLaughlin, 2 points for Caitlin Martin, and again, a big number that's kind of standing out right now, just 3 points for the Truman State commit, Morgan Miller. On the side of Hinton, they had 8 points from Kempema, 5 points from Addison Glass. Sydney Duskett has 4 points, and 4 points from Addie Piggott in the first half of basketball. When we come back, we are set to send one team to meet Central Lyon in the state championship tomorrow afternoon. Regina 24, Hinton 21. We'll come back. Second half action is next on the IGHSAU Digital Network, powered by Mid-American Energy Company.
This game is heating up, folks. Frank squares up like a butcher block on defense. Audie with the fadeaway. She's on fire. Literally, that is. The net has been burned to a crisp.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
He's the prime cut passer from behind the meat counter. It's Fairway Frank. And introducing a 6'3" center who's a cut above the rest. Say hello to Audie Crooks.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines. It's a Class 2A semifinal between Iowa City Regina and Hinton, getting set to tip off in the second half. And both these coaches probably working on adjustments. Of course, we talked before, Coach Leary, 23 years of coaching. Coach Rogers only in her 6th year, but one of the cool things about Coach Rogers is she learned from the best. And so she's definitely bringing that knowledge here to her team now in her 6th season at Regina, 111-32. She spent her high school years at Walk-On, where she learned from the legendary Gene Kling, of course, Iowa's all-time leader in career wins. 52 years he spent in the coaching profession, 11 of those at Walk-On, including coaching Mary Rogers.
So cool, and I just think it's so great when you have such great coaches And then she comes down, and she's now a high school coach, and you learn from the best. Maybe sometimes you take away some things, and then some things you maybe change or tweak to make it kind of your own. And I love talking to all of the different coaches down here at the state tournament because they all like to do things their own different way. And I always like to talk to them about like their plan for the week. Are they going to go back home, sleep in their own beds, or are they going to plan on staying here in Des Moines for the whole week? And I just think all of the coaches here do a remarkable job.
And we had a steal by Regina and then a foul called against Hinton as McLaughlin went down to the floor. And a different season here inside the Wells Fargo Arena. That would be a 2-minute minor for tripping. Of course, this arena used for hockey in the Iowa Wild.
I feel like it's not as cold down here as it usually is.
Yeah.
And when I was calling the game Tuesday with Andy, he mentioned it's hot in here.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? It kind of is. But usually when we sit down here above the ice, I am freezing. But so I hope you don't jinx it that I start getting cold.
Right. There is a free throw coming here for Miller as she was fouled on a drive you saw a moment ago. That one off the mark. Yeah, one of the things they do here, don't remove the ice. That would be tough to remove the ice all the time. They just put some black boards over top of the ice, and then the floor goes on top of that. We are currently sitting on top of ice right now. Inside, Kempema will kick it back out. Duskett catch and shoot three. Too strong, no good. But an offensive rebound by Piggott.
And Kempema draws so much attention down there in the lane. They're going to get those outside looks, unable to knock him down right there.
Third opportunity for Hinton. Can they capitalize? They cannot. And then a foul is going to be whistled against the Hinton Blackhawks as Kovarna was literally draped on top.
Sometimes you find yourself in situations where you just get tangled up, wrong place, wrong time, or, sometimes those unfortunate things happen. Called for the foul right there.
That's when you look at the official and you say, are you sure? As you're on top of the other player. And
I didn't mean to.
Yeah. One thing to note, Hinton has committed 3 fouls, and we have played 1 minute and 8 seconds into this third quarter, so 6:52 remaining. 2 more fouls will send Regina to the free throw line, a team that shoots 65.6% as a team. Duskett trying to make something happen after the turnover. There was a spin move, creating space and scoring the basket. What a move.
That was nice, and I've had this conversation with a lot of people. I've been really impressed with a lot of ball handlers here. Duskett showing her craftiness right there.
What a save by Kovarna as she dove into the media section, kept her foot in bounds. I was watching right down the line as the official was, kept her feet in bounds, saved the basketball, and the Regina gets called for a foul, which maybe not the worst foul in the world. Of course, you don't want to commit too many fouls, but looked like that Hinton had a little bit of a run out with that ball. They're going to try for a 3 left side, and it knocks down by Kovarna. Answer, no. 6:05 to play here in quarter number 2. Hinton back out in front. Kovarna, who just hit the 3 a moment ago. Now we'll have a foul and on the floor. One of the things that I heard from Kovarna after that game that kind of really sat with me a little bit is knocking down that 3 a moment ago. She said, some people may doubt themselves going into the locker room down. We've plenty talked about how they were down in that game, but she said, we didn't. We could have been down by much more than 12, and we just don't ever doubt ourselves. And the confidence, you got to have that in the game of basketball.
Absolutely, and like you said, Hinton trailed for the majority of that game in the quarterfinal game, and they chipped away. And I always like the quote, I actually believe Central Lions coach said this last year, but you can't eat an elephant in one bite. It's bite by bite, piece by piece, and in the game of basketball, it's one possession at a time. It's, stop and a score. And that's the mentality that Hinton had, and because of their resiliency, they ended up on top against Rock Valley.
Klein, a nice block inside. Now a steal, no, a foul called, as it looked like maybe a breakaway for McLaughlin, but a whistle and a foul. McLaughlin picks up her first. 14 points for her. Inside Kempema, count the basket and the foul. The last one was blocked by Klein this time. Klein going to be charged with the foul, and she's going to send Kempema to the free throw line for a 3-point play.
And I like that blob play right there, that baseline out of bounds play right there. Hinton does a lot of 4 low sets. All Kempema had to do was run to the other box and just basically duck in, and she was right there.
And absorbed that contact as McLaughlin was kind of, Klein was kind of late getting across and just used that body a little bit too much. 3-point play makes it a 4-point lead now for Hinton. Morgan Miller going to try to get going. She can't get to her own rebound. Follow your shots, kids. And the second one also no good. Third opportunity. A 3-pointer for McLaughlin, and she lines and fires.
Such a smooth stroke from the freshman. You have to know where she's at all times on the court.
And a foul called. More free throws coming for Hinton. McLaughlin had 425, her points this season, coming into today's game, and now she adds 17 points to that as she is approaching the 200 or 450 mark on the season in her first campaign.
And we talk about these prolific scorers for Regina. Morgan Miller a little quiet right here offensively, but again, you have a freshman stepping up really big. Morgan Miller became Iowa City Regina's all-time leading scorer this season, and she passed Mary Crompton. Mary Crompton graduated, I believe, Regina in 2018, and I was actually a teammate of Mary's when we played at All Iowa Attack together, and she had a tremendous career at Illinois State. Just a phenomenal person and a really great basketball player.
Floater in the lane is up and good once again by who else than McLaughlin. And saying after that game, Miller did, she was like, I was more focused on the team aspect, but of course, Mary was such a good player. It was a fun milestone to reach. Duskett will come inside and find 2, but I would say, predicting the future, as long as she, knock on wood, stays healthy, that record may be in trouble in the next 3 years.
The way that she's been shooting and playing at this state tournament, she's got a chance to do some really, really special things, not only individually, but her being a teammate.
Kovarna is charged for the foul. That'll be her third foul. Has that 3-point basket earlier. And, of course, now both teams are in the bonus. So we are shooting free throws for the remaining 4:09 on every foul that is called. First free throw is up, and it is good. So we talked about how both teams hadn't shot at quite as many free throws in the first half that they did in the first game, but we might reach that point now. Kovarna will have to leave the game with her third foul, an IMT substitution. Learn how to be worry-free with IMT at IMTINS.com. And here comes Hinton after the miss. They lead by 2. Drive inside, looking for a 2 is no good.
And right there, I thought in that possession, Regina took a really long time to stop the ball.
It is McLaughlin. Morgan Miller with it now. Gives it back to McLaughlin. That time she leaves it short. It'll be Duskett who will bring the ball across the line, holding a 2-point lead for Hinton. Duskett directing traffic. Says that she thinks she's the middle piece of that puzzle that we talked about earlier. The puzzle pieces coming together. She would say that she's the middle piece, and of course has been a leader for this team throughout the season. 7 on the shot clock. Now 4, they got to get one away. Duskett at the buzzer, knocks it down. Looks at her teammates and fires them up. It's a 5-point lead.
That's tough right there. And you know what? In our notes right here, it says that Sydney Duskett actually gives private basketball lessons. I'd really love to be in attendance at one of those lessons and see what she does with those kids. If you are a kid getting lessons from Sydney Duskett, you are one lucky kid.
Caitlin Martin knocks that one down and answers 3. Yeah, she said she loves coaching. She loves teaching, being a teacher, being a coach. That's one of her favorite parts about basketball is what she says. And I would assume there is a clipboard and a whistle in her future.
Well, and I love that because I am a teacher and a coach. Shout out to my 6th graders back in school right now. I miss you. I hope you're behaving yourselves. But if you're a coach, you're also a teacher. You're teaching not only the game of basketball, but some valuable life lessons.
It will be Regina who picks up the turnover, going for 2. No good on the shot, and an offensive foul is whistled. Martin will pick up the offensive foul. Let's watch this one again. Martin driving in. And it looked like Pickett got to the space first.
And again, those are the hustle plays that we talked about earlier. You know, when you're going for 50-50 balls or you're hustling down the court to stop a play from happening. And that's what that's what Addie Pickett does really, really well for this Hinton team.
And talk about those clutch plays that Pickett had in that quarterfinal win. She had a 3, only 3 threes on the entire season. She was 3 of 32 this year, knocked down a 3 late in that stretch, and then had a huge steal at the end of that game. She'll drive here. This one is no good, and then Duskett loses it out of bounds off her own foot, and it will go back to Regina with a 2-point lead.
Pickett, one of those players stepping up really big. She's a 9% three-point shooter, and I think we mentioned that in like a couple possessions after we said that. She knocks down a 3 in the corner.
At the end of that game, and then, of course, had a monster steal. McLaughlin thought she was going to pull a step-back 3. I think all of Iowa City thought she was going to pull a step-back 3 there. She drove in, her shot no good, but the rebound, and a foul is whistled.
And if you play that play back, I really like how she does a hesitation drill or a hesitation move. She stops, and then she uses her speed to go into her shot. Didn't fall, but that was a really good look for her.
It'll be Supel. We have not talked about the junior Supel much in this game. She comes off the bench, and there's a bench point for Iowa City. Regina playing in her 26th game of the season. She's 5 of 19 from the free throw line, but she gets a big one there. Can she have a pair? Just short, but a rebound by Regina. So they get 1 and a chance to score again. A trail by 1. It is McLaughlin that will back up towards the big Iowa logo in the center of this awesome court here inside Wells Fargo Arena. Hinton has done a fantastic job defending Morgan Miller in this game. Over 500 points this season for Miller. 5:05 coming into this game. She has scored only 4 in this one. 2 seconds. Are they going to get one away? A shot clock violation.
Morgan Miller just lost sight of how much time was on the shot clock right there, and it was too late right there. Hinton with a good defensive stop right there.
We'll take a break. We'll come back. 36-35. We got one coming down to the wire. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Back inside Wells Fargo Arena, you take a look inside the huddle at Coach Mary Rogers and Iowa City Regina. Coach Rogers in her 3rd state tournament appearance in 6 years here at Regina, a record of 111 and just 32. And Regina trying to make it to their first ever state championship game. Hinton on the other side, they are making their 5th appearance here at state. Been to the semifinals 4 times. Have only not been to the quarterfinal, or out of the quarterfinals, just 1 time, of course. That continued again this year with a winner over Rock Valley. 2000, their first appearance in 5-on-5 basketball, was the only time they have lost in the quarterfinals. Coach Leary was the coach at that time. Has coached 23 years of girls basketball, 18 at Hinton, but in 2 different stints. Coached in the 90s, took a little bit of a break. went to Sioux City East, and then came back to Hinton and has been here going on another decade. And now Hinton will turn this one over. It's picked up by Regina, and a chance for the Regals to cut in before the fourth quarter.
We talked about how solid both of these teams are offensively. They can score the basketball. But I think this game is definitely going to come down to the better defensive team here.
9 seconds for Miller. She drives in, still has 7 to shoot. They're going to put it up with 5. It's no good. Rebound is to Hinton with 2. Can they get one away at the buzzer? They will not. So we will go to the fourth and final quarter. Hinton 36, Iowa City Regina 35. At this point, 1-point game, you might as well make it 0-0 between these two. And we'll come back here for the fourth and final quarter. Next, this is the IGHSAU Digital Network, powered by Mid-America Energy Company.
At Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
Something exciting is growing on Iowa farms these days. Innovation. From tractors that seed, weed, and harvest with data-driven precision to drones that scout or plant cover crops to protect soil and water. Even our animals live in smart homes with round-the-clock care. Technology keeps your food safer, water cleaner, and makes us more sustainable. Because what we do here benefits everyone here. Life on the farm makes everyone's life better.
Back inside Iowa, the Hinton huddle inside Wells Fargo Arena here in downtown Des Moines, Iowa. Another snowy day here in Des Moines. As there is Iowa City Regina breaking the huddle. The freshman, Raylan Kempema. Will she be a factor down the stretch? We'll find out. It'll be Regina basketball to start here in the fourth quarter. And a chance for Regina Catholic to take the lead.
Regina right here doing a little bit of weave action up top between their guards with an excellent look down low.
Yeah, wide open as Martin got her on the backside, and she finds 2.
Sometimes when you're weaving the ball up top, you get carried away with the action going. You forget about what's going on underneath.
Deuce get too strong and a quick foul against Hinton, which again took away a transition opportunity for Regina. So Piggott picks up a foul. I know she was probably just going for a steal there, but that was almost another really good foul for Hinton as Iowa City Regina was racing down the court the other way.
And that's something that I have been surprised about in this game, are fast break opportunities for teams. I thought that there would be more just because both teams like to get up and go. There's only been 2 fast break points.
Piggott again had only made 3 3-pointers all season, and now she makes 1 in the fourth quarter in the quarterfinals, and at least 1 here in the semifinals in the fourth quarter. What a monster 3. Circus shot no good by McLaughlin, and now Hinton wants to run again. It's Duskett all the way in. She scores 2 more, 5 straight for Hinton, and they lead. And Hinton, another one taken away by Piggott, and Duskett will come across. Will they try to slow things down or go right back at it? Duskett was looking inside. Miller poked it away for a moment. Duskett the kick out. Kovarna for 3. That's left short, no good. And a collision as Duskett, Duskett did go to the floor as well, but it was Piggott who kind of knocked down Miller. Let's watch this one again. Oh,
We've seen a couple of those football type collisions here at the state tournament. Hope those 2 players are okay.
And that was the 4th personal against Piggott. So keep an eye on that. Here's a drive inside. Morgan Miller off the bounce finds 2. Back to within 3 now for Regina. Pickett with those 4 fouls, so she wants to drive in. She'll have to make sure she doesn't run anybody over. There's a 2-point shot by Kovarna, no good. Kovarna goes down to the floor, but Pickett comes up with the rebound. Kovarna back inside looking for 2 more. Her shot no good. She's going to the free throw line as Klein will be charged with another foul.
I don't think people talk about this enough, but having really good post-entry passes, and I thought Piggott right there did a really good job. She had 2 really good back-to-back passes right there. And again, it comes down to the fundamentals and executing them here in the final stretch of this semifinal 2A matchup.
Kovarna to the free throw line. McLaughlin, 19 points. Klein has to leave the game as she just picked up her 4th foul. So that's huge for Hinton as they now have the size advantage inside with the main center for Regina on the bench. Here's a 3-ball, knocked down. Haven't heard a lot from the senior McLaughlin, Ella McLaughlin, but she knocks down a big 3 here. Ella McLaughlin had 14 in the quarterfinal round, a full timeout, and we will take one here at the 5:17 mark. 42-42 will come back for the finish. This is the IGHSAU State Basketball Championships presented by the Iowa Farm Bureau.
Mid-American Energy, we're one company serving 1.6 million people who all need energy that's available 24/7. That's why we work 24/7. That's why we make investments in our systems that make us more resilient to extreme weather. That's why we generate power from all available resources to cover the variables in supply and demand. And that's why when the power is knocked out, we work around the clock to restore power to you. Mid-American Energy, obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
The fans are enjoying themselves here inside Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines. We are as well, 42-42. You gotta have those island drinks to make you feel like it's not snowing and 25 degrees outside. Here inside Wells Fargo Arena, Zerina Stahl and Ellie Ruffridge with you, and what a finish we've got coming.
Oh, it's been a blast calling this game with you. Both teams just putting it all out there. And again, there's 5 minutes left in this 4th quarter. That's still a lot of time if you're looking at it. So again, each team stop and a score. You have to value every possession. And again, if you make a mistake, you got to flush it. You got to have a short-term memory, and you got to do what you got to do to execute the next play.
Again, keep in mind that the size advantage inside for Hinton, as Kempema is still in there, the true center for Hinton. Regina does not have theirs. In Klein in there, and a 3-point shot is up, and it is no good. Though, Martin does give them decent size. She's listed at 5'8". Looking at her, I think she's maybe a little bigger than 5'8".
Yeah, and Coach Mary Rogers says that she is a very interchangeable player. She can go inside, she can go outside, but again, she's going to do whatever it takes.
3-ball on the way is no good. There was a collision right before then. And back the other way comes Hinton. Duskett pulls up for a triple, and she knocks it down. Sydney Duskett, a big 3.
Little stop and pop from the 3-point line. Why not? She's feeling herself right now. She's got the high hand. I'm okay with that shot right there.
Let's see if Regina can answer. Morgan Miller steps around the defender. Now she brings it back out. This has been the hot hand so far today. The shot this time is no good. And then a foul is going to be whistled against Regina. So McLaughlin can't get the 2 to go, and then a foul 80 feet from the basket by Ella Cooney. Cooney's played in all the games this season. Off the bench for Regina. Had to come back in this game with Adelie Klein picking up her 4th foul, the 6-foot sophomore center for Regina. Glass, we heard from her earlier on. Inside a Duskett spoon move, short, no good. Rebound, turnaround is also no good. And Coach Mary Rogers trying to call a timeout, but it'll be a jump ball. Of course, it's tough for the officials that far away. If Coach Rogers' bench is maybe right in front of the officials, but she's 75 feet away trying to get that timeout, unable to get to it, and it'll be a jump ball.
Yeah, and it is hard, too, when you're in an atmosphere like this and the crowd's into it, everyone's yelling, and sometimes when a coach is calling for a timeout, sometimes you got to give the refs the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they didn't hear you, and again, the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union has the best of the best here. And I want to give a shout-out to all of the ref crews here this week. They have been phenomenal.
No doubt about that. And, of course, definitely not the fault of their own. This is a loud environment. I'd see Regina did have to bring Klein back into the game after Hinton grabbed 3 offensive rebounds in that last possession. They want to get their size back in there. And now a foul is going to be whistled here against Hinton. Martin charged for the foul. 3:06 to play in the ball game. It's a 3-point lead for the Blackhawks. First time at the state tournament since 2009, trying to reach the finals for the first time since 2002. Duskett trying to help them that way, and their shot is no good. And the rebound this time does come to Martin and company, and here come the Regals back the other way. Oh, that's not the person to leave open, but the 3 is short and no good by McLaughlin. Offensive rebound, Morgan for 3. Yes! Morgan Miller from the top of the key. Timeout called by Regina Catholic, and we're tied. Those second chance points, how big are those?
They are so big, and right there, if you're Hinton, she had the right idea of trying to save the basketball, but you're going to have some coaches tell you right there, just let it go, or, try to find a teammate, but she passed it right to a Regina player right there, and Morgan Miller stepping up with the big 3. And Morgan Miller, credit to her, she hasn't had the best offensive performance today, but again, she trusts, the time that she's put in, and she's going to knock that shot down, and she did right there. Big players stepping up with big moments.
Well, let's talk about that, because obviously you're the best sharpshooter the state's ever seen. So when you have a shooter like that maybe hadn't been able to get things going, eventually percentages are going to play in your favor, and eventually you're going to be able to knock them down.
Yeah, and again, if you have great looks, you have to shoot them, and if you choose not to shoot them, that's when your coaches and your teammates are maybe going to get on you and say you have to shoot those. But again, if you're not knocking down shots, you have to find other ways to make an impact in the game, whether it's facilitating, you're setting good screens, you're getting your teammates involved, or maybe just being a cheerleader for your teammates. And then on the other side, on the defensive side, you're coming up with big stops. You don't just have to rely on making every shot. That's not going to happen.
9 points for Morgan Miller in this game after she knocked down that 3. Foul situation, we'll update you on that. Regina's committed 3 fouls. Hinton has committed 2 fouls. Of course, 5 is the bonus, and both teams have 2 timeouts remaining here in the fourth quarter. It'll be Hinton now a chance to respond after the Miller 3-pointer, and they go to Duskett. Duskett kicks it out. Piggott, can she have another one? Now this one is left short, and the rebound is picked up by Regina. Here comes the Regals with it. 3 bodies quickly on McLaughlin, and Morgan Miller gets it back, and she's going to direct traffic. Regina's going to slow things down here for a moment and try to gather themselves, get into the offense that they want. 18 on the shot clock, still plenty of time for Regina. They'll go inside to Klein. Klein working on Kepema. And a timeout is called by Coach Rogers. She wants a 30-second timeout with 8 seconds on the shot clock. Maybe just didn't see the play developing like she wanted to.
Yeah, and that's a good timeout right there by Coach Rogers. She saw her team, with 8 seconds left on the shot clock. This is a really big offensive possession for Regina, and they want to capitalize on this. So why not have the ball on the baseline and try to get a really good look?
No doubt about that. The Regals will get the basketball back with 8 seconds, 1:54 to play here in the fourth quarter. Winner gets Central Lyon for the state championship. Speaking about state championships, we're going to play a couple state championships yet this evening. After this, we have 2 remaining 1A semifinals right here on the IGHSAU Digital Network. And then it'll be time for state championships. Johnston and Dowling 1 versus 2, followed by the Class 3A state championship game. Waller and Mount Vernon. Inbounds, 2-point shot, no good by Klein. And the rebound is picked up by Hinton. They had that drawn up to try to get Klein a shot. Could not get it to fall. Duskett floating 2, no, gets her own rebound, puts it back up, it's good, and the harm. So Duskett gets the 2. Let's watch this one again. Follow your shot. She does just that and knocks it home. And Duskett a chance at a 3-point play.
Laura,
and that is the 5th foul, by the way.
That it's a big loss right there for Regina. And I got to say this, but Laura Leonard and I were talking yesterday before a couple of games, and we don't see a lot of players do pump fakes. But right there, I think Sydney Duskett did the right thing, and instead of just pump faking it right there, she just went into the contact, drew that 5th foul.
Smart heads-up play from the crafty veteran for Hinton. Gives them a 3-point lead at a big point in this game. Now it's up to the Regina offense. Doesn't have to be a 3-pointer. Still plenty of time to play in this game. Morgan Miller has it on the right side. She's going to drive in for 2. And her 2-point shot is no good. Rebound to Hinton. And now the Blackhawks are going to try to slow things down. Duskett trapped in the backcourt. Got to get it across. Only have a second to do so. And that'll be, right at the buzzer. It'll be a 30-second timeout right as the clock struck midnight. A timeout for Coach Leary, as he was halfway down the scorer's bench to try to get that timeout.
Again, it could have gone either way. If you're a Regina fan, you're begging for a 10-second violation. And then if you're Hinton, you are thanking God that they got a timeout called right there, because that was a big possession right there.
Yeah. And of course, Coach Leary able to find the timeout. Both teams will have 1 remaining. Another thing to keep in mind, as Hinton is in the bonus. So Regina does not have to make a bunch of fouls to put Hinton at the free throw line. They're already going to be there.
Exactly, and if you're Hinton, you do have fouls to give.
So Hinton will inbound the basketball into the backcourt. And Duskett will come across the line. And they're going to try to take as much time off this clock as they can. Regina trying to get a steal. They're going to take a 3 with 13 on the shot clock. No good. Rebound Kovarna, also no good. And it's back once again to Hinton. Now they can slow things down. There's only a 2-second differential between game clock and shot clock, and Regina has to foul. A tough 3-point shot by Glass, but it worked out in their favor as they got a couple of rebounds, and now the shot clock's off.
Yep.
And it'll be Duskett at the line.
And this is who you do not want at the line if you are Regina.
80% free throw shooter this season is Sydney Duskett, but she misses the front end. Still can make it a 2-possession game if she makes this one. And if you're Regina, you probably, I'll defer to you on this, you probably don't need a 3 right away. I mean, you still have 32 seconds.
No, you just got to get a basket right here. And I think they're going to talk about that right here.
That will be the final timeout for Regina. Hinton does have 1 more left, but Regina is now out of timeouts. So keep that in mind. If they get into a sticky situation later, maybe they are trying to inbound or somebody gets trapped, no timeouts to call.
So if you're Hinton, you're probably talking about the key players that you have to locate. For Regina, you have to locate where Morgan Miller is, thinking about if Regina's going to get her the ball, and then you also have to know where Addie McLaughlin is. So maybe Regina here in this timeout is having those two as like a decoy. We're going to get the ball to them, but then actually they're going to trick you and get the ball to someone that you least expect.
A lot of players on this team have scored some points this year. Ella McLaughlin hasn't had quite the day she did in the quarterfinals, but is a great scorer. Could go to her. The only person we know it cannot go to, obviously, is Adelie Klein, who has had to leave this game with 5 fouls for Regina Catholic. 28.9 to play in the Class 2A semifinal. Who is going to meet Central Lyon for a state title tomorrow afternoon? They'll inbound to Miller. This is Ella McLaughlin. Back to Miller, 3-point shot. No. And the rebound goes to Duskett. Thrown in out of bounds off of Regina. It stays with Hinton. What a play by Sydney Duskett. Falling out of bounds, she threw it back in to keep the ball in favor of her team.
Yeah.
The inbound pass will come to Kovarna.
I was wondering if Hinton was going to have somebody release.
And Duskett might have just put the dagger in. A 3-pointer on the way. No, Hinton grabs the rebound, and that will do it. The Blackhawks of Hinton will play for a state championship for the first time since 2002. A team made up of multiple different puzzle pieces transferring from all over Northwest Iowa, and now they'll play for a title in 2A. Sometimes it takes time. We've all sat down and done a 500 or a 1,000 piece puzzle before, and sometimes on a day like this when it's snowing outside, it just takes some time to put them all together, and the Blackhawks, now 25-0, will play for the Golden Trophy. Let's go downstairs to Tim Fitzpatrick for today's award ceremony.
For the awards presentation. In addition to receiving medallions, each participating player will receive a commemorative basketball provided by the Iowa Farm Bureau, proud title sponsor of the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union. Presenting awards from the IGHSAU are basketball administrator Gary Ross and executive director Aaron Gerlich. Congratulations to head coach Mary Rogers and the Regals from Regina Catholic on an outstanding basketball season. And now, Addie Piggott, advance your team to the next round in the official bracket at center court.
Back here courtside, it'll be Hinton and Central Lyon to play for a state title tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, we got a really good matchup coming up between Hinton and Central Lyon. But again, one more shout out to Iowa City Regina. They had a phenomenal season. But now we look at the Class 2A championship between Central Lyon and Hinton. The last time these two teams met up, Hinton was on top. They won 67-60. I think tomorrow night we're going to have a tough one.
We are in for a good one in that state title. As you watch the highlights here from Iowa City Regina, they're going to take their pictures and they'll head back down to Iowa City. But what a spectacular season for them. All right, we have 2 games left here on the digital network, both in Class 1A, to decide who's going to play in the final state championship tomorrow night in Class 1A. And those games will be coming for you right here on the digital network. And then later tonight, it is state championship time in Iowa on Iowa Public Television. Final score, Hinton 51, Iowa Regina 45. For our entire crew here inside Wells Fargo Arena, thank you for your hard work. And of course, Ellie Ruffridge, thank you for joining me today. I'm Zaran Agastal saying good afternoon from Wells Fargo Arena.